Most men believe that if a woman isn't saying anything, then everything must be fine. But one of the most powerful and misunderstood facts of female psychology is this. When a woman is silent, she is often feeling the most, processing the deepest emotions, and observing far more than she ever explains. And this is a truth most men only understand after it's too late. Which brings us to the story of Armin and Sarah, a story that quietly carries a lesson many men never hear spoken out loud. Armin was a focused, disciplined, and ambitious man, someone who lived by routine, structure, and forward motion, his days filled with work, self-improvement, and goals that kept him grounded. And when Sarah entered his life, everything felt natural and effortless. Their conversations flowed easily. They laughed together, and Sarah often listened quietly while Armin spoke about his dreams, his struggles, and his plans. And Armin assumed that her silence meant boredom or lack of interest. But in reality, Sarah wasn't disengaged at all. She was feeling, absorbing, and emotionally connecting. Because the first deep truth of female psychology is that women feel before they understand, while men often understand before they feel. Whenever Armin was excited, he talked more. When he felt insecure, he explained himself even more. But during the moments when he was calm, centered, and emotionally grounded, Sarah felt the strongest pull toward him, even though she never verbalized it. Her behavior subtly shifted, her replies became warmer, her eye contact deeper, and her presence more magnetic. Not because of what Armin said, but because of how he existed in those moments. Then one day, Armin noticed something change. Sarah wasn't speaking as much. Her messages grew shorter, her voice quieter, and on calls she often stayed silent. And like most men, Armin panicked. He began asking questions, pushing for reassurance, seeking explanations. Is everything okay? Did I do something wrong? Why are you quiet? And this is where many men unknowingly destroy attraction. Because the second major fact of female psychology is that when a woman feels emotional pressure, she doesn't move closer, she pulls back. Not because she's confused, but because she needs space to feel, observe, and decide. Sarah wasn't lost, she was watching how Armin handled uncertainty, how he reacted to silence, and whether his emotional stability depended on her behavior. And the more Armin chased clarity, the more Sarah retreated into quiet observation. Until one moment changed everything. When Armin stopped fighting the silence, stopped demanding answers, and stopped making his emotional peace dependent on her reactions. Instead, he returned to himself, his routine, his gym, his work, his focus, not as a tactic, but as a return to his natural state. And this shift triggered the third powerful truth of female psychology. Women are not attracted to noise, explanation, or emotional chaos. They are drawn to calm, grounded presence. Days passed, and then something unexpected happened. Sarah reached out on her own, her tone softer, her messages warmer, her energy open again. Not because Armin convinced her, but because he demonstrated emotional self-control, showing that his inner stability did not rise or fall based on someone else's silence. And Sarah never said, "You seem stronger now," but her renewed interest said everything. Because the fourth and most important truth of female psychology is that women don't attach through words, they attach through emotional presence. Armin learned that not every silence needs a response, not every distance needs pursuit, and sometimes the strongest answer is restraint, self-respect, and composure. Because when a man remains calm, centered, and unshaken, he creates a presence that is felt deeply without needing explanation. And once a woman feels something deeply, there is no need to persuade her mind. The deeper lesson of this story is simple yet uncomfortable for most men.
Women don't desire what you say, they desire who you are, your emotional stability, your boundaries, your ability to remain grounded under pressure, and the weight of your silence. Because if a man fears her silence, he has already lost control of himself. But when a man stands firm in his life, purpose, and emotional discipline, attraction happens naturally, without force or performance. And this is not a game, not manipulation, and not strategy. It is a psychological truth rooted in how women experience emotional safety, presence, and strength. A truth most men only realize after years of confusion, missed opportunities, and emotional exhaustion. And if there is one thing to remember from Armin's story, it is this: silence is not the enemy. Emotional instability is, and the man who masters himself never needs to chase clarity, because his presence already speaks louder than words.